Greetings, history geeks! Today's video is going to be a deep dive into the hidden gems of Winchester, Virginia's history. Having lived in this town for the past year and a half, my inner history geek couldn't help but uncover a fascinating layer of French and Indian War history right here in Winchester. I have to admit, strolling through Winchester streets feels like being on the set of the movie National Treasure. Each street name echoing tales of the past and George Washington right in the heart of it all. Despite its significant role in the Revolution and Civil War, this town holds a treasure trove of stories from the French and Indian War. As I strolled through the city streets, a curious thought struck me. Whose names adorned these historic lanes? A swift Google search and a dive into the rich history of Winchester street names revealed a captivating connection. Surprisingly, at least 5 of these streets were christened after British generals from the era of the French and Indian War, also named the 7 Years' War overseas. Intrigued by this revelation, I couldn't resist sharing my newfound knowledge with my fellow history geeks. Join me on a journey as we unravel the captivating tales of these British generals and their pivotal roles during the French and Indian War. It's truly fascinating to witness how these exceptional leaders have etched their mark on Winchester, their legacy immortalized through the very streets we traverse. As we embark on uncovering the intriguing stories behind Winchester street names, it's essential to first delve into the town's rich history and origins. Let's take a moment to explore the beginnings of Winchester before delving into the captivating tales that shaped its streets. The evolution of Winchester streets can be traced back to the arrival of the remarkable James Wood, a central figure in the town's history. Hailing from Winchester, England in 1707, Wood secured a land grant in 1735, becoming the architect of the town's expansion. His journey is as diverse as it is intriguing. He attended Oxford University, served as a Royal Navy lieutenant, and eventually made his way to Virginia alongside a colonial governor. In 1744, a substantial part of Winchester was formed based on Wood's stipulations to the justices of Frederick County. Elected as the first clerk of the Frederick County Magistrate and Court, Wood served until his death. His influence extended to the military, where he held the rank of colonel in the Frederick County Militia, serving alongside his friend Colonel George Washington in the 1754 campaign against the French. The street names we're about to delve into were personally chosen by James Wood in collaboration with Lord Fairfax, the proprietor of the northern neck of Virginia's vast lands. Back in 1752, these two influential figures joined forces to establish Winchester, leaving an enduring mark on the town's streets and shaping its history. So, let's kick off our exploration with Braddock Street. In Winchester, Braddock Street is named after Major General Braddock of the Coldstream Guards, who was the first commander-in-chief of British forces in America. The narrative behind Major General Braddock is a riveting tale intertwined with the complexities of George Washington's journey and the history of the French and Indian War. Our journey begins at a cherished landmark in Winchester, which is George Washington's office. This site played a pivotal role during the French and Indian War and proudly stands along the town's main road. Flag They Fly, during tourist season, a British ensign, echoes the days when Washington's headquarters would have displayed a similar flag. Just outside the office, you'll find one of the actual cannons used in Major General Braddock's expedition. Yes, one of the very cannons that they used en route to attack Fort DeCoons, now modern-day Pittsburgh, during the fateful Battle of Monongahela. Before the fateful Battle of Monongahela, George Washington played a crucial role as General Braddock's aide-de-camp. What many people don't know is that Washington was fervently pursuing a commission in the British Army, but faced rejection from the British leadership multiple times. However, the plot takes a turn when General Braddock arrives in America to defend the colonies against the French. In a twist of fate, Braddock promises Washington a commission with the Coldstream Guards, Braddock's own regiment, as a British officer. Sadly, Braddock's untimely death during the attack on Fort DeCoons prevented him from fulfilling that promise, leaving Washington without the coveted British commission he had been chasing. Lord Fairfax, Washington's first employer and first mentor, also has a street named after him. In a unique tribute, we find Lord Fairfax, a British aristocrat and military veteran of the Royal Horse Guards, also honored. Lord Fairfax not only mentored but also enlisted George Washington to survey Virginia land, weaving an honorary thread through Winchester's historical tapestry. So, you might be wondering why these street names are named after British generals, especially after the Revolutionary War. Well, it's quite intriguing. These generals were actually heroes of their time, making significant positive impacts on figures like Washington. So despite the conflict, their names were honored with street names that have stood the test of time. Our next British general that graces the streets of Winchester is Field Marshal Geoffrey Amherst, also known as Lord Amherst. First and foremost, Amherst held the esteemed position of British Crown Governor of Virginia from 1759 to 1763. His remarkable journey to prominence unfolded during the 7 Years' War, notably in the North American theater known as the French and Indian War. In June of 1758, Amherst spearheaded the victorious British assault on Louisbourg and Cape Breton Island, a pivotal moment that not only shaped the war's trajectory, but also propelled him to the role of Commander-in-Chief of the British Army in North America from 1758 to 1763. Moreover, by September of 1758, he assumed the prestigious position of Colonel-in-Chief of the 60th Royal American Regiment. Later on in life, during the French Revolutionary Wars on July 8, 1788, he became Colonel of the 2nd Regiment of Life Guards, a prestigious military unit within the illustrious British Household Division. Besides a street named after him in Winchester, Amherst County in Virginia is also named in his honor, along with several other locations in North America, including Amherstburg, Ontario, Amherst, Massachusetts, home to Hampshire College and Amherst College, Amherst, New Hampshire, Amherst, Nova Scotia, and Amherst, New York. Continuing our journey through Winchester streets, we come across Boscawen Street, a tribute to the renowned British Admiral, Admiral Boscawen. This distinguished figure earned his place as a hero during the French and Indian War. Admiral Boscawen's legacy extends beyond this conflict. He valiantly fought in the War of Jenkins' Ear and the War of Austrian Succession. In the French and Indian War, also known as the 7 Years' War, he served as second-in-command to Admiral Hawke during the capture of Louisbourg in 1758. His prowess continued in 1759 with a decisive victory at the Battle of Lagos, near Portugal, which was a significant moment during the French and Indian War. However, history also remembers him for a solemn duty, signing the order for the execution of Admiral John Byng, a tragic consequence of Byng's perceived failure to defend Minorca. Admiral Boscawen's name on Winchester streets echoes the tales of a remarkable naval hero. Now, let's explore the life of General Lord John Campbell, better known as Lord Loudon. He held the crucial role of Commander-in-Chief of British forces in America during the French and Indian War from 1756 to 1757. He also served as the Governor of Virginia from 1756 to 1759. Other location names across the United States also honor Lord Loudon, including Fort Loudon in Tennessee, Loudonville in New York, and Loudon in New Hampshire. Despite facing criticism from colonial leaders, he made bold decisions, such as temporarily closing American ports upon discovering some merchants were trading with the French during the war. Interestingly, despite mixed reception, Loudon County, Virginia was established in his honor in 1757, and George Washington ordered the construction of Fort Loudon in 1756 and was completed in 1758. Washington and his militia regiment were headquartered at that fort for 2 years. Last, but not least, is Wolfe Street, an avenue steeped in the echoes of history within the James Wood addition to the town in 1758. Its name bears the weight of British General James Wolfe's legacy, a man appointed as a brigadier general in 1758 under Lord Amherst, entrusted with leading British forces against the French at Quebec. The climax of this dramatic tale unfolds on September 13, 1759, as General Wolfe sacrifices himself on the battlefield, where both he and the French General Montcalm met their fates. In the aftermath of Wolfe's heroic demise, a few days later the fortress of Quebec succumbs to the might of the British. The youth-turned-hero General Wolfe becomes a celebrated figure on both sides of the Atlantic, etching his name in the annals of the French and Indian War. As Wolfe Street winds from Braddock to Indian Alley, it traverses the very ground where Washington's militia once honed their skills, a drill ground from 1756 to 1758. The stretch between Braddock and Washington crosses a historic hill known as the Fort George section in early records. Legend suggests that a stockade stood there during the tumultuous days of the French and Indian War, potentially holding French prisoners captured by none other than Washington himself in the daring expedition of 1753. The drama of Wolfe Street unfolds a vivid tapestry woven with the tales of heroism, sacrifice, and the echoes of bygone battles. I hope you've enjoyed this journey back through time to the beginnings of Winchester, Virginia, and America, to the French and Indian War. Next time, I will be exploring street names in Winchester, honoring American leaders throughout this town's storied past. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and please subscribe.